Welcome to the
Yeah.
Bullshit Filter. This is episode 134, I believe. We're recording this for future posterity on Friday, the 6th of June, Australian time,
Right.
2025. It's probably a year or 50 years earlier than that in the United States, depending on how
That's
you
true.
measure time
That's true.
in the United States. Um, it's a fascinating day. I always love the days when I wake up to text messages from my sons going, "Holy fuck! Did you just see what happened overnight?" That's the first thing I see.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so Trump and Musk started turning on each other a couple of days ago, but it escalated
That's a word for it.
today,
Yeah.
and yeah.
I feel better about our friendship because we do know we're not at the bottom of the barrel. We're low, but we're not in the basement yet. So, yeah.
No, no. Look, I don't know when it was that we talked about the inevitability of this. I think it was when Trump got elected. We did a show. So 6 months ago, 7 months ago, we did a show where we said this is going to come apart at the seams. There's no way you can put these two guys in the same sandpit for very long without them fighting. And it was just a question of when. I don't know what my prediction
Right.
was at the time. Do you recall what my prediction
I
was?
I for some reason less than a year. I think it was like months, if I remember correctly, because that's just their personalities. Yeah. Go ahead.
I, I'll have to go back and find the transcript. I can't remember if I said a month or
Something like
6 months,
yeah,
but it's been
yeah,
about, well, if we take it from the election mid-November, it's been about 6.5 months.
yeah.
So that's not what I really wanted to
No.
talk about today. But in a week of fun stories about Biden being
I knew
replaced by
it.
a
I
robot
called it. No,
and
go ahead. Sorry.
Iranian attacks on Russian
Hey.
bombers. Remember when during the campaign, Trump said the war would end within 24 hours of
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
taking office. But amongst stories about all those things, I really want to talk about
Oh,
love,
okay.
um, and you know, true love, the kind of love that only comes when a man loves
Right.
another man, as Alexander the Great taught us. That's the purest
Well,
form of love,
true of.
like you and
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Exactly.
True love, marriage. I wondered how long it would take for the bromance between Musk and Trump to split. And I was talking to Hunter this morning,
Right.
one of my sons. He called me about it. He's like, "Oh my god!" And as I think I've mentioned to you in recent times, I've been going back and listening to our original series on Julius Caesar and thinking about the
Right.
first triumvirate, which I've been calling the Musk and Trump thing a
More
diumvirate
like a
for
dumb bumvirate.
the last
Right.
six or
Nope.
seven
Go ahead.
months.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
A
A
bumvirate,
dumb
just a
bumvirate.
bumvirate.
Whatever. Go ahead.
Um, and Musk is the Crassus in
Yes.
this story, like the richest
Yes.
man in Rome, financing political campaigns. And I don't like to say Trump is the Caesar or the Pompey, because Caesar and Pompey both had legitimate skills that Trump
Right.
doesn't have. But he has his own set of skills,
Yeah.
though. And of course, as people who listen to our Caesar series will no doubt recall, when the first triumvirate started to fall apart, there was originally tensions between Pompey
Mm-hmm.
and Crassus, and then Caesar stepped in and tried to bridge the gap. And then he started to have his own falling outs with Pompey, and Crassus saw the writing was on the wall. And Crassus knew that Caesar at that stage had been in Gaul for 4 or 5 years, had a large army that
Right.
loved him and would support him. Pompey hadn't run an army for quite a while at that stage. He'd been out of active service for, I don't know, a
Mm-hmm.
decade or two. But he believed, and I think it was probably fairly well believed in Rome at the time, that he could just stamp
Yeah.
his foot,
Right.
as he would say, and an army would rise up to
Uh,
support him. It turned out when he fought the civil war against Caesar, it didn't really work out as planned.
yeah.
But Crassus didn't have an army. Crassus really wasn't a military leader. Crassus was a rich businessman,
Right.
con man, entrepreneur. Would set up the first private firefighting division of Rome, then would get people to set houses on fire, and then go, well, I can put the
I
fire out
could.
if you want,
I,
but
I
it's going
could.
to cost you money. Yeah. Or I'll let it burn down and then I'll buy your property off you for cents on the dollar
Where do I
and rebuild.
sign? Right.
So Crassus needed an army, so he put together an army and thought, you know what, I'm going to go. It can't be that hard.
Right.
If Pompey can do it, Caesar can do it. How
Yeah.
hard can it be? I'm going to go and fight the
Yes.
Parthians and
Money.
take their gold. And the Parthians said, oh, you want our gold? Take our gold. And then poured molten gold down
Right.
his throat while he
Your
was
wish
still
is my
alive,
command.
and then beheaded him and sent his head.
Yeah. Here you go, bitches. Which Caesar was going to
So
avenge.
that's what
But
happened
that's a
to-
whole different story. Go listen to the series.
Yeah, that's what happened to
Right.
the original Crassus. So I was talking to Hunter this morning about historical analogues for this kind of a breakup. What the other more modern analog is probably looking at Russia and the oligarchs that supported Putin in the early decade or so of Putin's administration of Russia. And we know that when oligarchs fall out with Putin, and we know Donald Trump's a big fan,
Huge.
he was until recently when he starts saying he's crazy. He's saying he's crazy. He's saying Trump's crazy. Musk is crazy now. But, the other tactic for taking down oligarchs who formerly supported you and now don't support you is to have them assassinated or arrested and thrown in prison on some
Right.
sort of
Yeah.
charges, trumped
Yeah.
up or otherwise. So that's another way that this could play out in the next coming weeks
Yeah.
or months is Trump could decide to have Musk removed. Musk is going to try and use his money and his Twitter following and his brand. Of course, he has less money, at least on paper now, than he did 6 months
Yeah.
ago, and less all the time, the way the Tesla share
Yes.
price is going. And his brand has been certainly tarnished with the non-MAGA crowd. How his brand plays out with the MAGA crowd now, when it's his brand in the MAGA crowd, it's dark MAGA versus red MAGA now. It's like a Marvel
I like where this is-
universe
yeah,
civil
this is
war.
Hey, quick question. Do you think Elon is going to re-kick, or whatever the term is, Trump off Twitter? I mean, fuck you. Boom, whatever. I mean, on one hand, it's good for Twitter to have them spatting, but I think Trump is mostly using Truth Social. But I don't know if you were Elon, would you get rid of him from Twitter just to piss him off?
Oh, he'll do petty
Yeah.
stuff, like that, but it's not going to have as much impact. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But the real thing I wanted to, Elon tweeting that, guess what? Trump's in the Epstein files. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. And in other breaking news, he's got weird hair and orange skin. Like, we know. Everyone knows that already, Elon.
And then Elon said his tariffs will tank the economy. Again, Captain Obvious, thank you very much for the report, but we've already witnessed it. But the point is he's saying it out loud. The magic is gone, like you said. So, and they're not done. They're still fighting.
Yeah. Hunter was saying, well, Musk is for a smart guy, he's a real dumbass. Like, anyone could have seen that Trump was unstable and it was all going to go pear-shaped. I said, yeah, but you got to understand the mentality of narcissist psychopaths. I mean, when you like as people, I'm sure everyone here has read my book on psychopaths multiple times. So I'm telling you what you already know, but the key defining characteristics of psychopaths is that they have low empathy, but also they have a very high appetite for risk. And the ones that are successful, like Trump and Musk, believe and have good reason to believe that they are untouchable because they have taken huge risks for their entire life and gotten away with it. So they do think they're the smartest guy in the room, and they do think they have a very good chance of getting away with taking large risks forever. They're like Magnus Carlsen sitting down at the chessboard against the world champion and then just playing the dumbest
Right.
moves ever in chess because he knows he
Yeah.
can get away with
Yeah.
it. Because he always does get away with it because he's the best guy on the board. Like,
Yeah.
he's played stupid moves over and over again and still
recover.
won because he can navigate the stupid moves better than
Right.
anyone else. These guys think they must have known individually that they would probably come to blows at some stage, and each one thinks he's going to be
Right.
victorious.
But what makes this fascinating is you've got these two people, generally speaking, with the same type of personality going at each other. Theoretically, only one of them can win. And you're thinking, well, Trump, he's the president. Well, the other guy's the richest guy in the world. I mean, so it's fascinating in that, and from that point of view, that they both are sure that they're going to win. But if it is a real whatever fight in this day and age, theoretically only one can win. So, but the point is, we can all be entertained, like you said. Get the popcorn out. We can all be entertained by the mutual destruction. So, get ready. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's not good for America. I mean, this is really, really bad. But I don't live there, so I don't give a fuck. Well, my son does live there. One of my sons lives there now.
He hasn't been.
Sadly, I give a bit more of a fuck than I did 3 months ago. The interesting thing is Musk is tweeting about maybe starting another political party, but that only matters if there are elections.
Yeah,
Elon.
you
I don't expect it to be elections. So a political party with no elections is sort of pointless.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I was going to talk about Doge. So this all started. Well, first of all, okay, who do you think gave Musk the black eye, really? He said it was his son. I don't think any of us are buying that story. Who gave Musk the black eye?
Right.
Is question one.
Oh, you want an answer now? Yeah.
And I get a feeling it's not the first. No, it's not the first black eye he's had.
No, he's a cunt. He can't keep it. He can't rein it in because he's not used to reining. It was either Stephen Miller or wasn't it supposed to be some government I can't remember, but Stephen Miller, or is it Miller? Is it Stephen Miller, the one I'm thinking about? The one who certainly isn't, because didn't Elon recently, scamper away with his wife? So, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I think he just pisses off a lot of people. If you spend too much time with him, you want to take a swing at him.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that full story to come out, and I think Trump will probably reveal what really happened.
He's got nothing to lose. Payback. He'll be like, but he'll spread it out. Trump will be like, hey, do you want to know how he got the black eye? Stay tuned, and I'll tell. I mean, he'll drag it out because he loves the fucking drama. But that's Trump. Anyway, sorry.
So what I want to talk about today really is the One Big Beautiful Bill, or HR1 as it's officially known, and one particular aspect of that. But this whole public side of the feud between Musk and Trump erupted over the Big Beautiful Bill. Musk tweeted that this spending bill contains the largest increase in the debt ceiling in US history. It more than defeats all the cost savings achieved by the Doge team at great personal cost and risk. And Doge has not been that successful. I mean, Musk, when they set up Doge, said it was going to save $1 trillion in expenses. And the last I heard, I think in April at a cabinet meeting, he said they'd cut $150 billion.
It's a start.
From next year's federal budget, far less than $1 trillion. And now this new bill is going to add somewhere between $2.5 and $4 trillion to the deficit, depending on whose estimates you're believing.
Well, could I just add to that real quick? If you've been around watching American politics long enough, there are some in the Senate, also in the House, but there are some in the Senate who are true deficit hawks. So for the ones that are Republicans, they're in a quandary. I don't want the deficit to go up that much, a large amount more than it has in a very long time. But at the same time, I don't want Trump coming after me, saying something bad about me, and then I'm getting shit all the time, whatever. So I find that interesting. Is like, what is their priority? Their principle of being a deficit hawk, or not being treated crappily or maybe even losing their next reelection. So again, when Trump goes off the rails, he goes off,
Again, there are no
okay,
more elections.
the last one,
Move on.
but
Yes.
does Trump keep you around? Because the thing we were supposed to talk about before all of this started would actually make Trump pretty fucking powerful to the point where it's no joke, which we should all sincerely be afraid. But hopefully we'll get to that later. But again, it's making a lot of people, and you've stressed this time and time again, it's making a lot of people decide, what do I care more about? Me and my future with this cushy job, or Trump's, or what I believe in. So, again, it's really going to make a lot of people look in the mirror and question themselves.
No, it's not. You think people in Congress
No,
really
there's a
look in the mirror and question themselves?
No, but there are a few deficit hawks who that's what they're all about. Like, I can't remember any names because I don't know any Republicans. But the point is, when you get to
Rand Paul is the guy you're thinking of. Pretty much only Rand Paul.
He'll say what he's thinking too. But again, it's an interesting study to watch these people go through this. Anyway, sorry.
So, yeah, I did want to talk about one particular section of this bill. Now, the background to this for people who haven't been paying attention, and this has had a little bit of media play, but nowhere near as much as I think it should have been getting. The courts in the US have already ruled against the Trump administration at least 180, 190 times in the last 5 and a bit months since their inauguration. And some of those rulings have been at least temporarily paused because the administration has appealed the process. But, there's basically a lot of the things that Trump is doing, a lot of this is executive orders. The courts have ruled as being unconstitutional or illegal for some other reason, and they're trying to stop him. And so there's been this building war that has been covered widely between Trump and the judicial system, between the executive branch and the judicial branch. But there's this one section of the big, beautiful bill that was snuck in at the last minute before it went to a vote in the House. Not that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene would have cared, because she has since confessed that she didn't even read the bill before she
and now she's
voted
upset
for it.
Go ahead. Theoretically.
Yeah, but not by this clause. She's upset by the clause that says that you won't be able to regulate AI for 10 years.
She's got her priorities. Yeah.
But this is section 70302, restriction of funds, and I'll read it and then we'll talk about it. So the clause is quite small, quite simple. It says, no court of the United States may use appropriated funds to enforce a contempt citation for failure to comply with an injunction or temporary restraining order if no security was given when the injunction or order was issued pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65C, whether issued prior to, on, or subsequent to the date of enactment of this section.
Simple.
Now, one of the first things that I did when this bill became a thing a week or two ago was I took the entire bill and I gave it to ChatGPT and I said, read the bill and tell me which clauses in this bill the average American should be concerned about. And then I took its response and I put that into Grok, Elon Musk's AI, and said, fact check this analysis of the bill for me. Tell me what you agree with, what you disagree with. And I played them back against each other. And interestingly, the first time I ran it through this clause, I ran it through Gemini too, Google's Gemini. This clause didn't get picked up. The AI's picked up a lot of stuff, but this one snuck through. Until I said, what about this one? And then they all went, oh, fuck yeah, this one's really, really
bad.
This is GPT's response. That clause is deeply suspect. Let's break it down surgically, because this isn't just some budget line item. It's a potential hand grenade lobbed at the judicial branch. Translation: if a federal judge issues an injunction, which is a legal stop order, or a temporary restraining order, TRO, that the judge doesn't also require the party requesting it to post a security bond, money put up in case the injunction causes damages, then the court is barred from spending any money to enforce it, specifically if someone ignores it or is held in contempt. So the basic deal here, as I understand it, is, let's say the Trump administration does something,
executive order,
whatever. Let's say they're sending some immigrants to secret prisons in El Salvador, and a human rights organization takes them to court, tries to stop them from doing it. In the United States, when somebody sues somebody or a government agency or a corporation, whatever, for something, there is a law in place where the courts have to request the plaintiff that they put up money to ensure that if this is a waste of the court's time, then they can be penalized for doing that. Right? You have to put up a bond that says, put up or shut up.
I'm serious.
You put up money to say if this goes, if you're wasting our fucking time here, then there's a penalty, right, for wasting the court's time. But judges can waive that bond if they deem that it's too difficult or too expensive and that the party that's the plaintiff can't raise that money for whatever reason. So again, if it's a human rights organization that is suing the federal government, human rights organization probably doesn't have the ability to put up $100 million bond. So the judge can waive that. And then if they find the defendant, let's say the Trump administration, guilty or in error or whatever, it's what they're trying to do is unconstitutional or illegal. They need to enforce. They say, okay, you need to stop doing that. You need to stop sending people away overseas. And the Trump administration goes, you know what? Bite me. We're not doing it. The courts can enforce their ruling by having people arrested, having people fined, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But that costs money to do that. You have to pay for police to arrest them. You have to pay for whatever the operation is. What this clause says is you can't use government funds to enforce the order. You have to get the plaintiff to put up the money in the first place. And this is also retrospective. So all of the stuff that complaining that the Trump administration has been doing for the last 6 months.